IATV caught up with economist and Durham University Professor of Finance and Economics Kevin Dowd at the launch of the new IEA monograph, New Private Monies, which he authored. We asked him, as one of the leading figures studying the history of private banking, for his views on Bitcoin and how, in the post-war period, state money had failed to provide a store of value.
Well, if you look since the end of the gold standard in 1931, the pound has lost 95% of its value. It's about the same figure in the United States since the foundation of the Federal Reserve 100 years ago. So it's failed catastrophically to maintain the value of money. It's also created vast amounts of uncertainty, misallocated resources due to erratic monetary policy and so forth.
An innovation some people have suggested might replace state money are new private monies, in particular Bitcoin. How does Bitcoin work?
Well, Bitcoin is radically new in the sense that it's the first monetary system which is totally decentralized. Once it was set up and running, it can't be shut down. It has no central authority, it's leaderless. The network verifies the authenticity of the trades and so forth. So there's no individual site or organization that the government can shut down. It runs itself. Bitcoin's produced by a mathematical process which is analogous to a miner searching for gold. So these Bitcoin miners, using their computers, search for the solutions to random number problems. When they hit upon a solution, they're rewarded with Bitcoin. The process is controlled in such a way that the amount of Bitcoin produced is almost perfectly predictable in advance. And the algorithm is set up in such a way that every 4 years, the number of Bitcoin produced over that 4-year period halves. So eventually, by about 2049, there will be no more Bitcoin produced. So the amount of Bitcoin is absolutely predetermined in advance.
One function money is supposed to have in order to be useful is that it's generally acceptable. Is Bitcoin acceptable for transactions?
It's increasingly widely acceptable. But no new money can start off by being generally acceptable. It has to achieve some traction from zero. But one can imagine that it becomes more and more widely acceptable and could become generally acceptable. There's an amazing variety of organizations that are accepting Bitcoin. I mean, universities are accepting it, in tuition fees, Virgin accept it, loads and loads. It's spreading like wildfire, including, ordinary, bars, restaurants, hotels and so forth.
What are the flaws in Bitcoin that mean it won't succeed, but other things that follow it might?
Well, Bitcoin has a number of flaws. It has some security problems. It has the Bitcoin transaction log is open. Potentially, one could imagine government spies breaking through the whole blockchain and uncovering all the transactions. But most importantly, because the supply schedule is as rigid as it is, it means that any fluctuations in demand create great fluctuations in price. So there's a great deal of price fluctuations in Bitcoin, which could be remedied by a supply schedule that was more responsive to changes in demand.
Is Bitcoin the money of the future?
I don't think Bitcoin is money of the future. I think the money of the future might be some other superior cryptocurrency which is similar to Bitcoin but without its flaws, or it could be something even further advanced. The point is that there's a lot of innovation in this space and we can't predict how things will evolve in the future. And a good example here is the mobile phone. You could not have predicted this, the smartphone, 20 years ago.